Morning, everybody. So today we have our lab investigation over Avogadro's law. So should be interesting. So there's a lot of new techniques and stuff involved in this particular lab. So that's kind of one of my primary purposes in designing this lab was to introduce us to how we collect gas and thus we get a volume from it because it's kind of difficult to do, gas. It's not like you can just measure it out and put it on a scale or anything like that. It just floats away. So we need a way to trap the gas and thus get an accurate way to measure the volume. And then we can use Avogadro's law to determine the molarity of that gas, so the moles of the gas, once we have the volume. And if we know the moles of the gas, we can determine the mass of the gas. So for our warm-up today, I just need to check off the pre-lab questions. Then the activity, the lab sheet today did it a bit differently. So because there are various pre-lab questions and stuff here, I just put a editable copy into our notebook here. So instead of going over to Teams to get the editable copy, I just put it in here, and I've already distributed it to all your individual notebooks. So you can click on your name and go into activity, and you'll find this here. So to begin with, what you're going to do is you're going to watch these videos that describe the concept of collected gas over water, right? So the first thing I want you to do, we would just check successfully collect gas over water. So this is important for you to know because you're going to be writing the procedures for this lab. So this gives you an idea of what this setup looks like here, right? So should have watched that. And then this other one is a descriptor. So what I'm going to ask you to do in your procedures is show little diagrams like this. So here, what you can do is you can just take this diagram, right? So you can find these and you can paste it into your procedures and stuff down here. So again, if you go into your procedures here, you need to write your procedures. So that's kind of the point here. It's my way of checking whether you actually understand what we did up here. Well, I guess initially, did you even look at the videos? Did you pay attention to what we had to do there? So here's our question. So in this case, I gave you the question. So what is the mole ratio of magnesium to hydrogen gas produced during the reaction? Right. So if you remember back to our Avogadro's law Socratic notes yesterday, towards the end, I was talking a lot about ratios and how we compare mole ratios of one substance to another substance. Right. So if we go into our chemical equation, that's what these are. So remember all these numbers, whenever you see numbers here, those are mole numbers. And the mole is used specifically for these chemical equations to give us quantities. So as we learned, we can't use mass numbers. We can't compare the mass of one quantity to the mass of another quantity because there's no set defined relationship between all masses. But there is a set defined relationship between all mole values. So 1 mole, again, is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So if I have 1 mole of magnesium, I know that I have that many atoms. So if I say I have 1 mole of I need 1 mole of magnesium for this and 1 mole of hydrogen chloride for this, then I know that I'm talking about a shared relationship. If I say I need 1 gram of magnesium to 1 gram of hydrochloric acid, that's very different. Right. So that is because they have different masses, they have different numbers of atoms. So 1 gram of magnesium will have a very different number of atoms than 1 gram of hydrochloric acid does. So it doesn't help us out here. So that's what we use the mole for. Okay, so materials, again, in this case, I gave you 2 materials. So I just gave you the chemical substances we're using, but I didn't give you the equipment. Again, the equipment you're going to add in, and it comes from our little video there. So again, you should have answered the pre-lab questions. You need to make sure you check these off. So then you can get down to writing your procedures, and then we'll get to doing the lab today. And then tomorrow we're going to do the data analysis, conclusion, error analysis. Okay, so exit ticket today, just make sure you clean everything up. So that's our work for today.